After one of the biggest heel turns in WWE history, fans have been left wondering who will be the next members of this new faction. In this video, we're going to break down the hints that Paul Levesque has left on who the next members of this faction will be, so you're not going to want to miss this episode of Wrestgle Digest. But before we get into it, we got to say that 84% of you guys watching this video right now aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you want to see up on the latest WWE news, rumors, theories, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. But with that said, like I said, this was one of the biggest PLEs in recent memory, where after 21 years, John Cena turned heel. Obviously, if you missed it, now we are a couple of days removed from this big pay-per-view where everybody's kind of soaked it in and start to look into it a little bit more on what is going to play out heading into Wrestlemania here. And obviously, as you see on your screen, John Cena turned his back on Cody Rhodes, hitting him with the low blow, joining The Rock, becoming The Rock's new champion heading into WrestleMania. And now, like the perfect heel would do, he isn't scheduled to be televised on TV till March 17th. So until then, we don't really know what's going to happen with John Cena and The Rock. But nonetheless, this was one of the most shocking events in recent history. Nobody expected this to happen. A lot of people expected Cody to accept this offer, but we didn't see it. But there were signs that this was going to happen. And one of those was The Rock throwing up the three-finger salute. And as we see here, another guy here has been linked to this new faction due to the hand signals, because as we've seen, The Rock throwing up the three fingers, as we all know, that is John Cena's thing. And if we all read into that earlier, maybe we could have broke this down and figured it out. But as you see in this picture, it looks like LA Knight is the next member of this faction and to turn heel, which it would be interesting to see because of how beloved he is by fans right now. But as you see, we see him throwing up the three fingers. We see him throwing up the two fingers like The Rock did at Elimination Chamber. So it leads fans to believe here that LA Knight will be the guy to turn heel. And I think this is the perfect thing that LA Knight needs, because obviously the yeah movement was big, but the yeet movement has been even bigger. He has been getting the opportunities that LA Knight probably should have gotten because of how over he is with the crowd as well. So maybe that leads LA Knight to being like, this should be me, and he turns heel where he has a number one contender spot for this United States Championship. Maybe we do see The Rock somehow get involved in helping him win this title, which leads to him joining the new faction. We don't have a name for the faction right now. We're seeing names all over the place, like the Break-A-Wish Foundation, which is a hilarious name, and I'd love to see that one, but I doubt it. But I think LA Knight here, this is what he needs for his career right now. He needs to join The Rock and John Cena. And as we all know, these factions always have big name stars, but they also have guys that are coming up, like LA Knight, and then a guy we're going to get to later on in this video. I think LA Knight needs this for his career more than anybody in the WWE right now. LA Knight, the way he talks on the mic, this guy could be such a good heel, and maybe he switched yeah from no. That would be pretty crazy. I don't say that would happen, but I would love to see this. I think him joining forces with The Rock, with John Cena, he's already LA, he's already Hollywood, so maybe we get a Hollywood version of LA Knight, which would be pretty cool. I think this is definitely going to happen. The signals are here for this to happen. But there is another guy who maybe isn't on your radar right now, and he's in NXT. And if we just take a look, during that promo, we see The Rock put his finger on his cheek, and if we all know a guy from NXT who loves to do that, and that's all ego Ethan Page, as that is his gimmick. He has the cheeky grin with the peak with his finger on his cheek, and a lot of people have been connecting the dots here, saying this is the next member, because as we all know in factions, they always have that up-and-comer, that new guy on the block in these factions, and Ethan Page is that guy for this faction. And as we all know, maybe you don't, The Rock visited NXT, where we seen him cutting a promo with Ethan Page backstage. Maybe this is him kind of saying, hey, we're getting something going. We want you to be a part of it. And I think just having that history with him and The Rock, already having a promo backstage, talking with him, doing the finger on the cheek before he put up the 2, it leads fans to believe that All Ego Ethan Page is going to be a member of this faction. And I think he would be the perfect guy to join this, because he is a young guy, he's good on the mic, he's all ego as we know, and already a great heel in NXT. He can easily transition into the main roster. He's a great in-ring performer. He's great on the mic, and he'd be a great guy for The Rock and John Cena to have, kind of dropping their hints, because they're not always going to be available. They're filming movies. The whole reason, like, you know, that The Rock's not on TV all the time. John Cena's not going to be on the TV all the time, as we seen with him announcing his dates in March, or mid to late March. So Ethan Page is a guy who can always be around, where he's taking phone calls from The Rock, where he's taking phone calls from John Cena, doing their dirty work while they are away. And I think he is the perfect guy with LA Knight to join this faction. I think having both of these guys here, maybe you drop Ethan Page on Raw and you have LA Knight on SmackDown, where John Cena and The Rock can do their dirty work from behind the scenes while having their little henchmen in LA Knight and Ethan Page on both brands, helping build the heel faction to even higher heights. I think this is what's going to happen. I think the finger motions are too big of a things to, you know, pass up here, because we've seen it already with the John Cena with the 3 fingers. Only makes sense to, why would he put the 1 before the 2? You know, that leads a lot of people to believe that it is Ethan Page, and then the 2, obviously we see LA Knight going like this and like that, and that picture that we brought up earlier. So I think these are too big of hints to just, like, let go over our heads here. I think these guys are going to join the faction. Do I know how that is going to play out and how it will lead to them joining? I have no idea, but I do suspect it will be maybe LA Knight during this United States Championship match. Maybe there's a little interference from Ethan Page or The Rock or something like that. I think that could be really cool and a cool way to do it. But there is another guy here that we did want to talk about. Probably the less likely one, and that's Randy Orton. As we've seen, he went for the punt on KO during the Elimination Chamber. A lot of people said maybe this is leading to Randy Orton maybe turning heel again, but I don't suspect that. I think Randy Orton is babyface. He's going in to face Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and he was bringing back the Legend Killer. That maybe that's just because of how off the rails KO has been as of late. So I don't suspect he will be a member of this faction, but I just had to throw it in here because this is a big theory that a lot of people do have online. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. What do you think? Who do you think is going to join this new faction with The Rock and John Cena? Do you think the things we talked about here today make sense? Let us know down below in the comment section. Love hearing from you guys. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything heading into WrestleMania. But as always, I've been your host, KC. We'll catch you in the next one.